Hey guys, welcome back to Boots and Bunny Homestead. So recently you've seen Steven and I, and maybe Logan, I don't remember if I got him in the video or not, but we all went out and found multiple trees on our property, and one of them that we found was a native black cherry tree. Now go back and watch that video if you're not sure exactly what I'm talking about. I have details about that and the history of it, what it looks like for identification. And I have the cherries inside with me. Now, I have went ahead and rinsed them off, and we are going to make some black cherry jelly. Now, these are the cherries. T90, little bitty babies. These are not the big fat black cherries that you see from the store, because those are what they consider like ornamental or, you know, non-native, but these are native black cherries, and these are the ones that come off the trees. Now these trees in the yard are like, I don't know, 200 feet tall. They're huge, absolutely huge. None of the limbs are very low for us to be able to pick. The easiest thing to do is to pick them off the ground, especially in the sunlight, because they sparkle like little diamonds in the grass. So to get this ready, we have, like I said, rinsed these off. I'm not going to destem these. I just went ahead and got the dirt off of them because some of these were picked up off the ground, and just, you know, got all the little bug stuff off of it. So I went ahead and rinsed everything off really well. I did not soak them in vinegar or baking soda or anything like that, because I don't, you know, we're fixing to boil them, so everything's fixing to kill everything during the boiling process. So we're going to take these cherries, we're going to put them in a pot, and we're going to get them boiling. So for this part, it doesn't really matter how many berries you have. I say I probably got 2.5 cups of berries. And what you need to do is, there are options, okay? There are options of Sure Gel, and I have had them all. There is liquid, which I cannot find. I have one pack of liquid left that a friend brought me. I can't find it, but I have the instructions. You have the regular Sure Gel, and then you have the sugar-free. Now these two you cannot cross. You have to use the instructions on this one with this one, and the instructions to this one with this one, because of the sugar content and the way the pectin is made. The sugar is what activates the pectin in order to thicken it up. So if it's off, it ain't going to thicken up. Or if it's expired, it's not going to thicken up. So I am actually going to use, I've got one pack of this low sugar Sure Gel left, so I'm going to use it. Inside all of these pectin boxes, and even with Pomona's, there's going to be instructions. Now I did run into a problem with these not having the inserts. As of, I bought them this spring, and I think they're the ones that expired in May of this year, if I'm not mistaken, either May or July, I'm not sure. I can't even remember, but they did not have the insert in them. I was teaching a Canon class at my local church, and they did, look, I'll just open this one. It does not have a packet. Look at that. It does not have a packet. This one actually expires on my birthday, July 25th, 2026. So these were the ones that were made, like this year, earlier this year. I was trying to see if it had on here when it was made. But these are only good for about 2 years, I think. But make sure they are not expired. But yeah, there's no... like I said, I run into this. There's no insert with these. And I don't know if it was a glitch. Somebody forgot to load the paper at the factory or what. But you can Google it. I did Google it, and I found some images. Just put in Sure Gel recipe packet or something like that. Instructions, something like that. And a lot of people have posted those pictures. And I actually, when I did my class, I went ahead and printed some off for them just in case they ran into it. But we are going to be doing the cooked jelly. Because, and you ask, why jelly and not jam? Jam is what has the meat in it, the fruits and stuff. And the jelly is just the juice. Well, once you handle these berries, you will see there is the seed inside of them is about as big as the cherry, so there's not a whole lot of meat. So you could do that if you wanted to and run it through a food mill or maybe like a cheesecloth or something like that and try to extract the meat of the fruit. But I'm just going to do jelly. I'll leave the jam up to you. The instructions are on the cooked jam side. We're going to do the cooked jelly side. Now, there is, there's different things listed on here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. There it goes. Okay, so there's different things here. They're not going to have black cherry listed because this is not one of those things. But if you look at like the blackberry, the dewberry, the boysenberry, even the cherries, the sour cherries, raspberry, black raspberry, loganberries, this is what these are kind of close to. And what they want is to have 4.5 cups of prepared juice and 3 cups of sugar. So we're going to roll with that. So we're going to add, I'm going to add 5 cups of water to my cherries, and we're going to let these boil down. That way, because I'm adding extra half a cup of water because it's going to boil and it's going to steam it off. So we should have about 4.5 cups. Now, if we boil it, and it ends up being less than 4.5 cups, we can always add a little bit of water. I just don't want to waste having too much and not being able to use it all. So we're going to go with 5 cups of water, and we're going to get this boiling to get those juices released and to make our prepared juice for our recipe. All right, 5 cups goes in, and we are going to put this on high. And we're going to get it boiling, and then once it gets to boiling, then we're going to cut it down to where it just simmers for about 20 minutes. And we are going to use like a potato masher. Let's see. I gotta find mine. Here it is. All right, I've got one of these. And this one's good. It's got the holes where the berries, you know, well, it's good and bad. The seeds will fit through here, but also the berries. But you can just use this and kind of smush the berries to release that juice. You can use one of the old-fashioned ones. I've got one somewhere. You know, the one that's kind of squiggly. You can use those. You can use a back of like a soup spoon, big flat spoon. Something you can just push down on them and get those juices released. So we're going to let this come to boil, and then we're going to mash our berries a little bit and just let them simmer for about 20 minutes to make sure we get all that juice out of the cherries. Okay, so our cherries are just starting to boil. If you can see, I'm moving around in there. Now we're going to take some kind of masher, whether it's a spoon or whether it's one of these, and just kind of start mashing them so we can start releasing those juices. And you'll start to smell the fruit kind of come through. It'll kind of be like a sour, earthy cherry at the moment, because these are not like sweet maraschino cherries or nothing like that. They've also been soaked in sugar too. But we're just going to start releasing these. Now my water is like a really dark burgundy color now. See if I can get y'all a better shot. Alright, now you can see them just a little bit better. Really dark burgundy color. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to medium. And we are just going to continue just squishing these. Now you'll see some of the seeds. Some of those little brown specks are the seeds. So I mean, they're as big as the cherries. So we just need to try to get all these cherries busted up as best we can. Let's This is really looking good. I can see a lot of seeds. There's a lot of seeds in here. Okay, so we're going to let these simmer for 20 minutes. And I am going to leave the lid off because remember we put that extra half a cup in there. And that's going to kind of evaporate down and make this more of a concentrate. So that way whenever we go to measure it, if we need to add some to it, we can because this will be concentrated. So we'll see you back in about 15 minutes. Okay, so now what we've got to do, and you can see the, maybe you can, okay. It's went down probably about 3/4 of an inch in liquid as it's boiled. And if you pull up what's left, it's mostly just seeds and skins. So I think we are good now. I'm going to go ahead and get this strained. Alright, so for the next step, what we're going to do is I'm going to get my colander over here. And I've got it's a muslin so you can see through it. It's like a muslin cotton, not a cheesecloth. But the next step up, this is just a cotton material. You see a lot of clothes made out of it. You know, it's kind of crinkly. 100% cotton. And I'm going to lay this in my colander. Okay. So, here's my colander. I've got kind of a small one. And I'm going to put it over this metal bowl for the time being. And you can do one bigger if you want. I just know I'm probably... I'm going to do a bigger bowl. Now that I'm seeing all that liquid, I might need a bigger bowl. Okay, take 2. Here we go. Now, this one I know the colander will sit right on with the handles. It'll sit straight on there. Trying not to squish my raspberries over here I got picked. Alright, so we are going to put this cloth over the colander and try to get it centered if you can. Push it all the way down. Get it even. Okay. And we're going to pour this into our cloth. Just be careful, don't let it splash on you. Rule of thumb, go ahead and wash your stuff while it's wet. Because when you start to do a lot of jams and jellies and fruits and stuff with a whole lot of sugar in it, you'll see real quick that this stuff gets sticky. Alright, so now we're just going to pick this up and it's going to drain by gravity. I'm actually going to take my colander out. To be quite honest, I don't like that colander. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and I'm going to tie this up and I'm going to hang it on my cabinet right here. And I'm going to let it drain for a couple hours. I'm just going to let it sit here and drain. I'm going to watch it, and whenever it quits dripping, then I'll know that it's done. Okay, so it has been almost 4 hours. Our fruit has now quit dripping. If you have a cloth where you can squeeze it and like bits and stuff doesn't come through it, you can squeeze it and get a lot more juice out if you want to. I actually did that. I didn't get maybe a tablespoon more out of it. So what we're going to do is going to go ahead and measure the liquid that we have left. And like I said before, we need 4.5 cups of liquid. And let's go ahead and pour that into a stock pot. It's best if you have a pot that is thick bottomed or where it doesn't easily burn. I'm actually going to use another one of my club pots here. I have some that, you know, are like Rachel Ray, some are like Tremolina. I have different ones and all of them are thick bottomed. Just be careful on the ones that are thin. Kind of like this bowl. Some stock pots can be real thin. Stainless steel or older ones can be aluminum. Just be careful with those thin ones because those will burn on the bottom faster than you can stir. So we're going to measure out our 4.5 cups. Get that piece of cloth out of there. 4.5 cups into our pot so we can get started. Okay, like I said, if it boils too much to where it doesn't quite get up to the 4 cups, this is a concentrate, and we're going to go ahead and add enough to make 4.5 cups. And like I said, we're just adding water. Okay. That is so dark. So dark and pretty. Okay, now we're going to get our sugar. Now we're going to add our sugar. Now at this point you can go ahead and turn your oven or your stove on. I would do like high, medium, high, just because sometimes it can get too hot too fast and we don't want it to burn. And at this time we're going to go ahead and add 3 cups of sugar. Now the recipe is going to say go ahead and prepare your sugar, because for the 5 or even 7 cups of sugar that some of them call for, some of the fruits call for in the recipe, they want you to just be able to dump it. With this only being 3 cups, we can manage this little bit. And we're going to get a whisk and get it all stirred together. And so what we've got to do is we've got to allow the sugar to melt and our fruit to come to a rolling boil. And we've got to once it comes to a boil, we're going to stir it, and if it does not stop boiling, that's when we start our timer for a minute. So this is going to take a few minutes to warm up. I'll bring you back whenever we have hit our rolling boil. I'll show you what I mean. If you've never made any jelly or jam, this will be the same process for any kind of fruit that you're making into a jelly or jam. You're going to do a rolling boil. I'll show you what that looks like here in just a few minutes. While that's getting ready, we're going to go ahead and put our canner on the back. Now this will be a water bath canner. And there we go. There's our rolling boil. You do have to be careful because it can boil over. If you need to, turn it down. And there's your rolling boil. See, it does not go down whenever you stir it. We're going to give it about a minute, and then we're going to add our pectin. Don't forget to go ahead and have your jars ready. You can get them straight out of the dishwasher. You can get them out of the oven if you've already washed them and gotten them hot. Sometimes people like to put them in their can of water to keep them hot. It's all up to you. Now I will tell you that with these jams and jellies, that it's going to say to water bath it, your half pints, for 10 to 15 minutes. Always do, yeah, 10 minutes. And you can use your pressure canner bottom. A lot of people is like, oh, that's not a water bath canner. Well, it is if you make it one. So this is our pressure canner bottom. It has the rack in the bottom. I'm going to do a little bit differently. I'm going to do what's called steam canning. And what that is going to do is, steam is hotter than water. So what I'm doing is I'm putting 1 inch of water in the bottom of my pressure canner. And I'm going to put my jars in there, and then I'll put the lid on, and I'm going to lock it. I'm not going to put the weight on it, but I'm just going to lock it, and I'm going to let it run for 10 minutes. And guess I'm going to turn it on. And that steam is what's going to can it. Instead of filling this up and water bathing it, you know, and using all that water, I'm going to steam can it because steam is hotter than water. And it's still going to surround it just as well. There are steam canners out there that you can get that is the same thing, but it's upside down. You put the water in the shallow bottom, and then you put a large lid on top, and it locks down. This is the same thing, it's just the other way around. It's going to have a deep bottom and a shallow top. Okay, so it's been about a minute. We're going to put our pectin in, and you'll see that it's going to stop boiling for just a little bit. Mix it in real good. And then we're going to bring it back to a boil, just like we had before, for 1 minute. So I put hot water in there, and then I turned it up, and it's going to stay hot. Now, if you're not ready to can your jars, like me, I'm not ready to put my stuff in my jars yet because I had to send Logan to go get me some more. You can let this simmer for a couple of minutes if you need to. I wouldn't do no more than that, but you can let it simmer for a couple of minutes if you need to go ahead and get your jars ready. Alright, let's go ahead and cut that off. And I'm going to lay down some paper towels because this can get messy. So we'll do about 3 jars at a time. Where my funnel go? Alright, here's our funnel. You want to fill these up to a 1/4 inch, and that's almost to the bottom of the lip of the funnel. That's kind of how I gauge it. Or about halfway up from the top to the little lip on the jar. That's about a 1/4. Okay. Got these 3. And then I have an extra jar that holds my funnel. I'm going to wipe these off. I'm going to wipe them off with a wet rag. Oh my goodness, we have just a tad bit left. Yeah. Good deal. I forgot to wipe those off. Okay, so for this I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to tighten it down. No weight, and whenever the steam starts coming out here, that's when I'm going to start timing it for 10 minutes, and that'll be our steam canner. So now the fun part is you can lick the pan. I'm just kidding. Get a spoon. Now you can see if your gel or your jelly has gelled. Mine has, if you guys can see that. There we go. Mine has gelled, and you can see there's some stuff on the bottom. It's not moving anywhere, and you can just scrape some off and you can try it. And that tastes like grape jelly. Tastes just like grape jelly.
How much of a spoon?
3.
3?
So now the next thing is to get everything washed up before it gets stuck on. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see that. There's the steam that started, to come out of the little pressure hole. And we are going to now time this for 10 minutes. If it gets to be too much and you hear too much rattling, just turn it down just a little bit, so that way your jars aren't hitting each other or anything. And if you only have like 4 jars in one of these big pots, you can put empty jars as fillers, and that way it kind of takes up that space where they're not just, you know, walking all over the pot. But yeah, now it's going to be 10 minutes. Let me move my sourdough starter over because I don't want those to get cooked. But 10 minutes and then those will be ready. Alright, so it's been 15 minutes, and what I like to do is just get them out and set them right here in the middle of my stove, because it kind of stays warm and decreases with the temperature very slowly. So we're going to cut it off, and we're going to take this off, open it away from you so the steam doesn't get you, and then we are going to simply get these out, set them on a towel. Some of these have already sealed. That one just sealed. This one's sealed. This one's fixing to seal. That one's fixing to seal. And this one's fixing to seal. Okay, so now with these, we're going to cover with a towel, because we don't want them to decrease in temperature too fast. There's an inch or so in between each jar. That way they can still have airflow, but they still keep each other warm for a couple of hours. We're going to allow these to sit overnight, and then we will be able to store these in the pantry for up to about 5 years or so, but I'm sure they're not going to last that long since we only have 6. We will go through these and we'll share it with my mom and my dad, and probably sell a couple of them. But this is our black cherry jelly. We will show you what it looks like in just a second.